TIFU. Rover sitter held my dog ransom. Obligatory this happened this weekend note. So I needed a Rover. I was going to Indiana to my best friend's lake house for a long weekend. I found a Yana on Rover. She asked me if I could pay over Cash App. I honestly didn't think anything about it at the time. I was in a crunch and my previous booking had cancelled the evening before I was supposed to leave for my trip. Here we have fuck up number 1. The next morning, I agreed and we said we would figure it out when I dropped her off. She then said it would be no problem to come pick her up. Again, I'm aware now of fuck up number 2, but I was really starting to stress and I didn't think anything of it. She said she would be at my house at 4 to pick up my dog, Shipley. After hearing nothing, at 4:45 I reached out. She told me she was getting a haircut and that it was taking longer than expected, but she was on the way. I was beginning to feel like things were not lining up and was getting frustrated. But she arrived shortly after that and she was very apologetic and friendly in person, so I felt more at ease. I then left for my trip. Everything went fine Friday and Saturday. Sunday evening I texted her and said I would be home around 3 p.m. Monday afternoon to pick up my dog. She said that would work. After telling her I was hitting the road at around 10 a.m., she responded claiming my dog had chewed up part of her carpet. I asked her how that had happened because I had specifically left my dog's crate in her bed with her so she wouldn't be left unsupervised. She said that it happened while she was showering. This all seemed very sketchy and unlike my dog. I have had her for 1.5 years and she hasn't had any destructive behavior in over a year. Side note. She also has 2 cats, so how do I know they didn't do that? At 1 p.m. I said I was about 2 hours out and asked for her address so I could pick up my dog on the way home. She didn't respond until a few minutes before 3 p.m., saying she wasn't home but her girlfriend was with my dog. She then said she would be home at 6 p.m. so I could come then. I was extremely frustrated at this point because she refused to tell me where my dog was being held. She said I needed to send her $1,200 to pay for a complete replacement of the carpet. I told her I would be willing to figure something out once she got a bill from the office or repair company. But I said I refused to send her anything over Cash App. At this point it was around 4:30 p.m. and I told her I was extremely frustrated and this was unprofessional. I asked her what the name of her apartment complex was so I could call and speak to the office. She stopped responding to my messages right before 5 p.m. After sending more texts and calls I told her I was done playing games and she had until 7 p.m. or I would be contacting Rover and the police. At 7 p.m. I called Rover customer support and explained what was going on. The representative said she would try to get in touch with Ayana and to wait an hour and if I heard nothing to call back. She didn't contact me. So I called Rover back around 8 p.m. and the customer support representative found the profile of Ayana and gave me the phone number of her emergency contact. I called that number around 8:15 and spoke to a woman who said she was her girlfriend and that Ayana had been so stressed and anxious when I told her I was upset and would be reporting her profile, that she had dropped her phone and it was broken. I will say at this point I was extremely pissed and verbally ripped her asshole open wide into a new dimension and told her I was coming to get my dog and if she didn't give me an address in the next 10 minutes I was hanging up and calling the police immediately. She sent me the address. So I get to the apartment around 8:45 p.m. and knock on the door. I can see my dog inside through a window. So I knew she was okay thankfully. The door opens a crack and I can see the chain, dead bolt engaged to keep it from opening all the way. They said they have a document that once I sign I can have my dog back. This ransom note looks like a 5th grader wrote it. No periods, incorrect grammar and spelling errors. It's almost comical at this point. I would have laughed if I wasn't shaking from rage at this moment. So at this point I'm standing there shaking, vision with a tinge of red, a million thoughts running through my head. It clicks in my head that I'm standing here arguing with 2 women and things are starting to get a little loud. Not willing to put myself in a situation where it's my word against theirs, I tell them I will be calling the police and waiting for them in my car outside in the parking lot. I know how this story goes. Crazy, psycho former Marine with PTSD intimidates 2 women. Not even willing to give that any traction, so I remove myself from the situation and call the non-emergency phone number for my city. I explain everything going on and the operator tells me that an officer will be heading there. I give them my information, and wait. After 3 hours of watching Netflix on my phone in the car and trying to unsuccessfully mediate, I finally see 2 majestic chariots of law pull up. It's close to 12:15 a.m. The cavalry is here, boys. I start talking to the sergeant in charge and immediately notice a Marine Corps motto tattoo on his forearm. The tides are finally turning my way. We briefly talked about the Corps and I show him the ransom note, as well as several pictures of my dog. He then asked me to wait in my car while he and the other officers went to talk to them. About 15 minutes later he returns with my dog and everything else I had left with her, like her food, dishes and toy. After helping me load it all into my car, he asked if I was willing to speak to them one last time. I said yes, but it quickly turned into a sob story, and so I asked the officer if I was allowed to leave because I had heard enough. After giving the officer my information and speaking to him over at my car, he informed me that there were 2 other cats and a dog in there as well as my dog. He said Ayana had admitted to him that she had no proof it was my dog who destroyed the carpet. So I thanked him and the other officers and drove home. Tuesday, my curiosity got the better of me and I Facebook creeped her, and the first thing I see is a link she posted to a website similar to GoFundMe asking for donations so she could pay her rent. My gut is telling me this entire thing is a scam. While I know I was stupid and made some huge mistakes, I rolled the dice and got very lucky. I wanted to share this so other people can learn from my mistakes. Do not ignore red flags. Thankfully she is totally fine now. She was very exhausted and stressed when I got home. But she has since returned to her cheerful, annoying, typical self. TLR. A Rover seemed very sketchy, but I went ahead and left my dog with her. She tried to hold my dog ransom when I refused to pay her $1,200, until the police came and returned my dog to me. Edit. I definitely thought of more than one way to break that door down with my bare hands. But I knew anything aggressive would instantly make me the bad guy. Luckily I remembered a few bad choices I made previously in my life that ultimately steered me towards the Marine Corps, and I knew I had done nothing wrong, so when the cops showed up, by showing restraint and remaining calm and compliant, I trusted it would all get sorted out. I'm thankful the officer that responded happened to be a Marine vet as well. Mom, if you're reading this, cooler heads prevailed. You handled it so well once the scam was revealed. Thank you for sharing your story, so that hopefully other people won't go through the same thing. Moral of the story is to have 3 options for boarding your pet, in case 1 or 2 fall through. Glad that your girl was okay. Holy shit man, I would have let myself in through the front door with a chainsaw if someone was holding my babies for ransom. Oh my god. I would have lost my mind and turned into an absolute monster on these people. Red flag number 1 was her asking you to pay through Cash App. When you book on Rover you're supposed to pay Rover directly when you make the reservation, and they pay the sitter 2 days after you pick up your pet. Super sketch. I'm glad you got your dog back safe and sound. I would have lost my fucking shit if someone held my dog ransom. Good job the way you handled it, I definitely would have went psycho. OMFG. I've considered using Rover a couple of times, but some of the stories I've seen on Reddit scare the shit out of me. You did great. I would have lost it and done something stupid to get my dog back. That shit's crazy. So glad you were able to get your dog back safe and sound. That's so scary. I'm glad your dog was returned to you safely. Did you report her to Rover? Earlier this month, my husband and I went out of town for a while. I refused to hire a Rover sitter for our cats. We went with a certified sitter instead. She cost only $20 a day and we were really happy with the quality of care she provided. Certified sitters cost pretty much the same as Rover sitters. PSA. Be very careful with Rover sitters. Some of them may be legit, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Pretty much anyone could become a Rover sitter. They're not thoroughly vetted by the company. I would never trust them with my precious babies. I'm impressed with your level of restraint. You did a great job. I would have called 911 though, LMAO. IDK how you kept your cool, but bravo. Today I fucked up by accidentally kidnapping a child. So this happened last week when I was babysitting my nephew for a few days while my sister was out of state for my brother-in-law's family emergency. So I'll call my nephew Adam and his friend as Max. My sister asked me to watch her son for a few days while her and her husband went out of state because his mother was hospitalized. She's fine now guys, and I agreed because I love Adam. Adam is still in elementary, but me and him get along pretty well because we enjoy similar things, so I was looking forward to the week. This all started when I went to pick up Adam from school. They called his name over the intercom and he came out with his friend, Max. Conversation isn't exact. Me. Who's this? Adam. My friend Max. Mom usually lets him come over after school. Me. Hey Max. I'm Op, Max. Hello Mr. Op. Is it okay if I hang out today? Me. Sure, that's fine. Is your mother okay with it? Max went silent for a second but then answered. Max. Yeah, she's fine with it. I talked to her about it yesterday, so off we went. We got back to the house and Adam asked me if we could go get some ice cream. I love ice cream. So the boys dropped off their bags and I drove them to the store and I bought us all some ice cream. I decided we might as well get some snacks too while we're there. Adam and Max got excited and grabbed a bunch of snacks. So I paid and we left, stopping at a park on the way back to eat the ice cream. We got back home and Adam and Max played with Legos and I prepped dinner while watching a movie on TV. So a while goes by and I ask Max what time I need to get him home by. My fault I asked him so late, it had completely slipped my mind. Me. Hey Max, what time's your mom expecting you home? Max didn't respond so I repeated the question. Max. Mr. Op. My mom doesn't actually know I came over today. When he said that my heart dropped and my first thought was, did I hear that right? I asked him what he meant and he explained to me that his mom told him that he couldn't go over to Adam's house until he cleaned his room. It dawned on me that I basically just kidnapped a child. I immediately asked him for his mother's phone number, which he didn't know. Side note. Parents, please teach your children your phone number. I asked him for his address and he said, I live near the school. Yeah, thanks kid, that really helps. I checked my phone only to realize that the outlet I had plugged it into didn't work and my phone was dead. I didn't know what to do and I was getting really worried that the police would knock on the door and arrest me. I calmed myself down, I plugged my phone into a working outlet, and I talked to Adam and Max. I told Max that it wasn't okay to lie and his mom was probably freaking out right now. I picked them up from school at 3 p.m. and it was 6 p.m. When my phone turned on, I saw that I had 6 missed calls from my sister and 3 from my brother-in-law. I called my sister back and explained frantically what had happened. She calmed me down and told me that Max's mom had called them and asked them if they had Max, and my sister answered no. Max's mom hung up, to presumably call other people, and my sister tried to call me to ask if I had Max. When I didn't answer, she gave up and just wished her friend luck. My sister gets distracted and stops caring about things quickly. My sister called Max's mom and explained the situation. Max's mom came and picked up Max. I apologized for all the trouble I caused and she told me it was fine, that the problem was solved in the end. Me and Max's mom talked for a bit, about what happened that day, and she managed to calm down finally. She told me that she was about to call 911 when she got the call from my sister, so it's a good thing Max came clean when he did. Me and Max's mom exchanged numbers in case this ever happens again and we shared a laugh over the craziness of the situation. I'm really glad she was understanding and didn't call the police on me. So in the end it all worked out, I'd say. This is my first time telling an experience I had in this format, so if you have any questions over things I didn't explain well enough, feel free to ask. TLR, my nephew had his friend come over after school. I was under the impression his mother knew, she didn't, and he hung out with us for just about 3 hours before the truth came out. Didn't have the police called on me, thankfully. Everyone is happy in the end, except poor Max. He definitely got in a lot of trouble when he got home. More a foo from the little asshole kid. Good read 8.5, 10 would read again. This is why kids need collars, dog tags with info to reach their parents when accidentally kidnapped. Obviously real kidnappers don't care. Kids like that are wild. When I was a kid there were Maxes in my neighborhood too. They'd just invite themselves over, apropos of nothing, and not feel the need to tell any family members where they were going. Used to legitimately have to break out the yellow pages and quiz them on their parents' names until you found the right number. And the parents, for whatever reason, did not seem to mind that this was happening regularly. Glad Max's mom actually cared, unlike the feral children we used to have in my small town. Hey Op, my policy when dealing with someone else's kid, is to always ask their parents. Seek them out. Never trust a child. Meet the parent. Get their permission directly from them. So the next time you're babysitting and little nephew wants his buddies over, go find their parents. Tell them what's up. Sue, is Max's mom a single mom? 'Cause you've got her phone number and a meet cute. My mom made us sit down and memorize our address and phone number as soon as we could speak in sentences. I did the same with mine, as well as making sure they could say where mommy and daddy both work. We also have plans for each of them, now 7 and 10, On what do if there is ever an emergency and the grown-up in charge is incapacitated. They know 3 safe neighbors to ask for help. How to get Alexa to call 911 and that there is a 7-Eleven down the street that never closes if they are desperate for help. That's good that it all worked out. I'm only 23 but growing up when I was younger kids didn't have cell phones. So I still remember my mom and dad's phone number. They are still the only number I have memorized. Probably because my mom was thinking of this scenario. This is why when I have kids I'll get them a bracelet with my number engraved on it. Today I fucked up by reviewing my dashcam footage near my GF. This was last week, not today. I recently started commuting again after WFH for over a year. In that time, it seems people forgot how to drive. I drive in a medium-sized city and have had quite a few close calls recently. So I decided to get a dashcam to protect myself in case anything happens and I need video proof of the events. The dashcam I got not only records video, obviously, but also sound from inside the car. Anyways, after a few days of having my dashcam, I decided to review the recordings to make sure it was working properly and to just watch footage of me driving around. I was sitting on the couch, my girlfriend was sitting on the other couch scrolling through TikTok. Most of the clips were pretty dull, normal driving and me singing along to my music or listening to podcasts. I clicked on another clip that started our pretty normal. It was me a few minutes into my drive back from work, nothing out of the ordinary. Then, several seconds into the clip you hear me go, "Holy shit, she got a fat ass." I instantly froze and looked up at my girlfriend who was already staring me down. I had no time to pause or exit the video before I go, "Man, I'd like to sleep on those pillows, slap it around, make it jiggle, and then laugh." My face probably had a look of terror on it as my girlfriend was shooting laser beams and daggers at me and she goes, "Really?" Needless to say, I was in the doghouse for the rest of the night. Too long did not read. I played dashcam footage, sound of me geeking out about a big booty I saw while sitting near my GF. Got sent to the doghouse. The management decided to put cameras and a microphone in our courier vehicles. Well, when you're driving to and fro with Pandora blasting 60 hours a week all lonesome by yourself, I say plenty of vulgar, obscene and offensive language. Sure enough, I get rear-ended. My random train of thoughts about the co-eds in yoga pants and their camel toes became part of a lawsuit. Edit toes, not toys. My girlfriend would laugh if this was me. She'd probably ask me how fat it was. Haha man, the fact that you were alone in the car, I assume you were, and yelled that out loud is 100% pure gold. I'd have rolling on the floor laughing if it was my husband. Our sound on our dashcam is shut off. No one needs to hear what anyone inside our car says. Tears of joy, tears of joy, tears of joy. This is my worst nightmare. Oh, the things, horrible, horrible things, that I say while driving alone. No human ears should ever listen to that. You should upload the video rolling on the floor laughing. Should have told her not to worry. It wasn't nearly as fat as her ass. I honestly thought this was going somewhere different. Like somehow you caught her cheating. This is so much better and hilarious. Today I fucked up by getting fired over assuming a customer's gender identity. Note: I will be using the term, the person, instead if, he, or, her. I am 19M and was an employee of a well-known American supermarket until today. Around 3 p.m., I was restocking chips on the shelves until I saw a person was trying to reach for the very top shelf to get a bag of tortilla chips. Of course, I went over to help, got the bag of chips down, then finished the interaction with, "Have a great rest if your day, ma'am." This is where I fucked up. Keep in mind, the person was wearing a crop top with a short skirt, high heels, and makeup. Using the visual knowledge I gained about the female and male body structure and outfit for the past 19 years, I assumed that the person was a female. Furthermore, the person was not smiling, did not say thank you at all and had a straight and serious face for the entire duration of the action. That pretty much tells you their personality right off the bat. All of a sudden I hear a loud yell from the person. It caught me off guard from how subtle and loud it was. I was confused for a couple of seconds, and finally registered the yell when it came clear to me that the person shouted, "Excuse me?" I immediately replied with, "Sorry?" Then within a matter of seconds, the person goes on a verbal rampage, drawing other customers and employees to the blaring and roaring noise. I was not clear at the moment of what the person was saying until I realized the person was upset over me calling the person, "Ma'am." I still remember this single phrase that the person said, "Don't you ever assume anyone's gender." Ask them for their pronouns first, then talk to them. I didn't want to cause a bigger scene than what it already was, so I simply said, I am very sorry for assuming your gender. I have learnt my lesson. Nope. The person kept going off, raising their voice by every second, that felt like a lifetime. And finally asked to speak to my manager. I said, okay, I will get him right now. To which the person said, no. Show me to him, go on. I finally bring the person to the manager. The person explains the situation to my manager, waiting for the everlasting blabber to stop. Everything the person said was the same until I heard a eye-opening sentence. I want him fired. Now. Wait, what? The manager asks me, did you assume this customer's gender? Which I replied to, yes, but it was a mistake. Never in a million years would I thought to hear this next phrase. I'm sorry, my name, but we can't have this in the store, especially at supermarket name. I gotta let you go. You can pick up your final check in 2 weeks. I was shattered. I lost my job over a stupid customer, over a stupid reason, and an overly stupid manager. Now I'm here, jobless. My coworkers messaged me after the incident, while I was in the car, sobbing. I got so much support from my lovely coworkers who witnessed the entire shitshow. They all agreed the customer and our manager was in the wrong. Too long did not read. Got fired because of assuming an offended and super sensitive customer's gender. Manager did not help at all. Should have made a scene about assuming your gender when the person said, I want him fired. I think you are in the wrong sub. You didn't fuck up. You didn't even make a mistake, as so many people here are saying. You were helpful and polite, and the customer was a rude psychopath. People can't stop every single human interaction to ask for pronouns or whatever. It would be ridiculous and time-consuming. The thing is, the people that demand it know this. These things are just used to control and abuse other people. You are better off without that job. This story is untrue. Workplace bureaucracy is never this efficient. I agree with some of the other commenters about reading over your contract. This could be a wrongful termination and you could get your job back. This person was way over the top. I was born a female, I use female pronouns, I have female body parts, but I am also very tall. I can't count the number of times I've been called, sir, by people that don't even look at me properly, they just see tall and assume I'm a man. I don't even bother correcting them anymore. I just let it go. It doesn't really matter what strangers call us, as long as family, friends, and those in our social circle get it right. If someone important assumes and gets it wrong, just correct them and go about your day. Not the asshole, but I will say I struggle to believe that this isn't a made-up story. Edit. This is how I feel about it. I'm not sure if this actually happened. Anyone else have doubts? This is trollbait, only. Either OP is leaving out some crucial details, or this never fucking happened.